Hey there, hi, welcome to the channel. I am Garrett, and in today's video, we are talking about some design basics you need to know, especially when you are starting out, you are starting over, or you are decorating from scratch. Now, the first thing you need to know when you are decorating any home, any space, an apartment, doesn't matter the size of it, just matters that you are mixing high and low. Mixing high and low is a really good way to make your budget go a little bit further. It's a really good way to add personality, a little bit of character, and it's a really good way to curate your space. And when I say high and low, I don't necessarily mean like go all out and get the most expensive this or that or whatever piece of furniture. I mean, get something that's just good quality. That's not the bottom of the barrel, like, right? You know, nobody wants to have that just like, it's cheap for the sake of being cheap. We want it to be a little bit nicer. We want it to have a little bit of design behind it. So look for something that's slightly more elevated. For example, you could get just, like a really cheap sofa, but if you're gonna spend time on that sofa, and that's one of the first things that most people purchase for a space, their home in general, you want it to be kind of nice and comfortable. So maybe you don't get the cheapest thing you can find, but like you can actually get something really nice that's flat pack from IKEA that will look beautiful in your home when styled correctly. Same thing goes for your bed. You spend a lot of time in bed, and your mattress, for example, needs to be good because you will not be able to function properly without really good night's sleep. So spending a little bit of extra money to get a nicer mattress is a good idea. The bed frame itself, I would like to see you get something that's nice and high end, but you could actually go a little bit more affordable on the bed frame and get something that's kind of simple, and then let some of the accessories in the space speak a little bit louder. And when it comes to lower end things, or low priced things, we should say, that's where you really want to do your research and take the time and find things out, because sometimes it's not about that being the cheapest thing either. It's just about what is the price of that in comparison to the bigger things. For example, you should spend a little bit of extra money on a sofa, but your coffee table doesn't have to be the most expensive thing in the space. You can find something that's nice, something that's decent, something that has a little bit of design behind it, and that's a good thing to consider. It's all about stretching your budget and making it go as far as possible, but still maintaining a quality atmosphere in your home. Be it your first apartment or a house you're refurnishing, maybe you have to redo everything because a natural disaster destroyed everything. Like, there's a million reasons you could be starting over. Could just be fortunate and be purchasing a second home. Hey, love that for you. But starting out with a mix of high and low end pieces will get you a lot more for your money, a lot of value, and it will also allow you to curate and build your space and put the appropriate quality into the pieces that need it. Something else that you might need is a little bit of feedback from an interior designer. It's definitely worth working with someone before you start purchasing a lot of pieces, because that's a lot of money you're putting on the line and you don't want to make any mistakes. So work with a designer like me. You could always book a one-on-one interior design virtual consultation where I can look at your space and answer some of those difficult design questions you might be faced with, or I can just point out, hey, this is a really good starting point for you and this will work with your style. You can book that using the link in the description box down below, or going to intro.co/GarrettLeChic. And I would actually recommend you book that now, because I currently have a sale going on of $50 off of a 30-minute or longer consultation with me now through May 31st at 11:59 p.m. So head to the description box down below for more information on that sale and the link to book, or head over to intro.co/GarrettLeChic. Something else you have to do in every space. Every designer is going to tell you that, and when you are starting over, it's especially important. That is using a piece of vintage or an antique in every space. And I think it just depends on what your style is, whether you lean vintage or antique. I'll do a mix of both things just because that kind of aligns with my style. But for you, it might be, hey, I want something that's really fun and vintage and cool. Like, that's a really great piece to bring into a space. And then you can mix it, everything else that's new in, because vintage is gonna do a couple of things. One, you have to hunt and find the right thing. It adds a story to a space, that's personality, and it feels authentic. Two, vintage just tends to be better quality. We don't make it like we used to. Everybody says it. So finding a vintage piece is going to mean that you get much better quality than you're probably spending the money on. And that's a really good takeaway here. I don't think you should do every single thing vintage. You can mix vintage and new. It's just about how do those styles align? What pieces are we selecting? What sort of vintage is it? And vintage doesn't have to mean everything or something big. It can mean a small piece of decor. It can mean, a vase, a bowl or something. I love vintage tables and cabinetry actually because they are really good quality. Okay, it's usually solid wood and they're easier to clean. You can wipe them off, as where upholstery, you might have to have something reupholstered and that's expensive. So opting for something vintage like a coffee table, that's a really good place to get something vintage. You can get an interesting mid-century piece with a glass top on it that really defines your style, or you could get something that is an antique or something that has a little bit more of a primitive wood type feel to it. These are all really good things to think about. Vintage also tends to be more affordable. You can find it in a lot of places. Thrift stores, consignment stores, Facebook Marketplace, all of the areas and places, even flea markets. I have literally had people comment and say they have found designer furniture pieces on the street. So I'm not going to advertise you get it from the street because you never know what it has, like bed bugs, but maybe it's a possibility. Now I know I always get the comments about the piece of furniture behind me and everybody says, Garrett, that's so amazing. Where'd you get it? I want a piece like that. It's such a great antique. It's not. It's modern production, the best top tier quality. Yeah, I spent a little bit of extra money on it that I didn't necessarily need to, but it's well worth it because you're asking. It's a Theodore Alexander piece. I don't know that I'll be able to link it for you because I believe it's discontinued, but there's all sorts of things out there you could find. You can find vintage pieces, antique or modern production pieces that look antique. That's a modern piece, a modern production piece, but a lot of the accessories on it are actually vintage. So I mix those things together all of the time to create something that truly feels personal to me. You should do that in your home regardless of the style. Something you have to remember when you are decorating your home is matching color intensity. And this is something I see, like, honestly, I see it on TikTok the most, but that's beside the point. Matching color intensity is important because you want your home to have what's called flow. You want it to just feel like you can move from one space to another, like they all belong in the same place. They don't have to match. They don't have to be exactly the same, but that color intensity is going to allow that flow to happen. And this is really big when it comes to like dopamine decor. If you don't know what that is, it's essentially spaces that have vibrant colors that are intended to bring you joy and make you happy to be in them. And I love that, absolutely, because you don't realize the effect that interior design can have on your mood, your personality, and your space. So it's really great. But if you're going for dopamine decor, you need to do it everywhere so that it's consistent and it looks normal. Maybe you decorated it at a time in your life when you needed a little extra dopamine, and I respect that, but we want it to be consistent throughout. So just match the energy of the color in your home and the intensity of it from room to room. You can have it be fun. You can have it be vibrant. You can mix all sorts of colors together. I love it. I actually follow a lot of those influencers because I find it to be inspirational, even if that's not what I'm going to do in my house. But match that intensity from room to room. And it doesn't have to be paint colors or going crazy. Like if you're renting, I don't recommend you paint your walls because like you're going to have to paint them back, and there's all sorts of issues all of the time and you don't know if the paint's going to match. It's always a big thing. So you can do that with accessories, you can do that with artwork and the rug you bring into the space. Like that's where I would put the bold, vibrant color, because you might get tired of it and then you want to move on from it. Instead of having to replace your neon green sofa, you can just swap out the artwork in that frame and you're good to go. Those are all things that are really important to consider. Now listen, whether you're just starting out, you're moving, you're trying to redecorate a home where you already have existing furniture, all of the things, we post at least 2 videos a week here all about interior design. So we would love to have you join us. Take a moment and hit that subscribe button. It means the world to content creators like me. And if you're seeing value in my content, I would love to have that support. So please join us, become a part of our LeChic family by hitting subscribe. I would also greatly appreciate if everyone watching gave this video a like. It also would be wonderful if you could share it with a friend. The next thing you need to hear, this is tough love, and you need to hear it because I'm sick of seeing it and I'm sick of having to fix it. Although, maybe I shouldn't be sharing this because fixing things does earn me quite a bit of money, but that's beside the point. I'm looking to help you. Don't decorate with junk. Don't decorate with junk. Just because something is cheap or is a good deal does not mean you need it. Just because something is cute does not mean you need it. I have learned this, okay? Don't just buy stuff because it works or it fits or it's a good deal. Like that doesn't mean it's gonna be the right thing for you in your home. It doesn't mean it's worth spending your money on. Just because something is on clearance for $5 doesn't mean you need it, because when you realize you don't need it and now it's just for donation, it's just junk, you're just giving it away, you lost that money. So do not decorate your home with junk or random stuff. Or what some of these design commentators will tell you you absolutely need because it's gonna fix your life. No, it's not going to. It's not gonna make your house beautiful. This vase they're selling from, whatever their little shop is, it's not gonna change your life. Don't decorate your house with meaningless junk you don't need. Just because it works for somebody else or they like it or there's a really good commission rate on it, doesn't mean it's gonna work in your home. So focus on things that actually you really like. I personally am a collector. I collect things, but I use them as decor. I want them to be large enough and fit my space and be beautiful enough that I am happy to look at them every day. That's literally the entire point of collecting them. So when you're out there thinking about what do I want to do for decor? What do I like here? Look for something that is artwork to you. Look for something that is beautiful to you, that you really love. I could list a bunch of things that I love that I don't own or have because it just is not necessary. I don't need to have that, and it's not going to serve me any purpose. Instead, I focus on the things that I really like. Collect 2, maybe 3 things that you enjoy that you can use as decor that serve almost as artwork to you. Maybe you collect, a certain type of action figure. Okay, cool. Let's get those and let's get them large enough that they can be decor. Let's get a cool display case or a shadow box for them. We can hang up and display them and use it that way. I've had clients who say you know what, I have this vintage Star Wars poster. How can I make this work? Cool, it can look chic. Mix it with some mid-century modern style furniture and let's get, some interesting thing there. Frame it like it's a piece of artwork and hang it up beautifully. It's cool, it's interesting, and it may not be what everybody defines as great artwork, some random designer you saw somewhere talk about something. No, I don't care about any of that. I only care about what I like and what makes me happy in my home. So that's what you have to focus on. Do not think that buying something just because it's cheap on sale means it's gonna be perfect for you or it's exactly what you need. Focus on things you actually like, that actually look good, that are actually cool and interesting and relevant to you, and bring those into your space. That way you're not surrounded by a bunch of stuff you don't need, and then you have to hide the stuff you actually like somewhere else. If nobody else gets it, then they can get out. That's how that works. So embrace you, embrace the things you like, showcase some of your collection or something like that. And it doesn't have to be something major. You could collect seashells and use them as display and put them out there, okay? It could be anything basic and simple as that. The next thing I have to mention to you, because it's a mistake I see all of the time, especially when people are starting out, younger people do this all of the time, and we can correct it now before it continues on later, because I'm sick of seeing y'all do these home tours and it looks rough, okay? You need to be consistent about your wood tones. I typically recommend that you use 2 wood tones in a space, or maximum 2 wood tones, because it's just easier to do that. But there's caveats to that, and there are exceptions to that rule. And I also think that some people will take it too literally. When I say match wood tones, I mean match the energy, the vibe, the tones of that wood tone. Not just they have to be the exact same thing, the exact same stain from the same company. It's that's crazy. They don't have to be. They just need to be close enough that they look similar. So if you have something that's a red-brown, well, another red-brown tone is going to be consistent with that. And that's all about visual flow. It's just about things feeling natural and feeling like they move from the space to itself. And if you're renting a place, for example, I would get all of my wood tone furniture in the same wood tone, because if I decide to move and that place has a different type of wood flooring or something like that, well, now none of it makes sense. It doesn't all match. I have a lot of mahogany pieces in my home. Mahogany can read a little bit more red or a little bit more brown. It can also have some yellow tones in the base of it, and that's fine. I can use different forms of mahogany throughout the house in the furniture pieces, some that are a little more red, some that are a little more brown, because they're very similar. They have those same warm tones to them. They're the same intensity of darkness in the coloring, so that's fine. And you can do the same thing with any wood tone. You can use, a yellow wood tone. You can use a brown wood tone. You can use a white oak. All of that's fine. Get your furniture pieces in the same wood tone though. It's just easier if you need to move them around from room to room, space to space, or take them to another apartment. Get them in a similar wood tone so you have 2 of them going on, the flooring being one of them and the furniture being another. That way it's consistent. And if you're living in a space and you're like, you know what, Garrett, I don't want that. I want them all to match perfectly and be exactly the same. Fine. Just remember, if you move, they may not match the flooring in the next space, and that's okay. It's okay to have more than 2. If you know what you're doing, if you like how it looks, there's an exception to every rule, and that's absolutely fine. Just don't get so hung up on they have to be the exact same thing or they're completely different, because as long as the base tones of them are the same intensity of the color, I would personally consider them to be the same wood tone, and I would move on from there. It's not that deep. The next thing you need to be thinking about and remember when you are decorating your home is that you never want to go for the most obvious or the cheapest option. Just because something is obtainable to you right now at this moment doesn't mean it's going to be the perfect thing for you. Don't be in a rush to decorate or furnish your house. It's not a race, it's a journey. And I love that for you. I love that for me too. It doesn't have to be done today. I would much rather live in a space that has the essentials, but is a little bit more barren. Okay, we're going for minimalism, and I love that for you. Than I would in a space that is fully furnished, but I don't really care about, or I don't care for, or like, yeah, I got it done and it's great and that's perfect. You don't have to do that. And you also don't have to go for the most obvious piece. Just because something says it's a nightstand doesn't mean it has to be a nightstand. It can also be an end table. It can also just be a small accent piece in another room. Just because something says it's a vanity doesn't mean it is a vanity. You don't have to just get a vanity if you want that. You can get a desk, and that can be a vanity. You can use multiple pieces for different things. Get creative, figure out what the problem in the space is and what you need to overcome, and then find a piece that serves as the solution to that, and it will look beautiful. You can also use outdoor furniture indoors. So don't limit yourself to anything when it comes to interior design. Just get creative, have fun, and try to be consistent or look for reference points to make something work. Speaking of reference points, the next thing we have to talk about is inspirational photos. I love inspirational photos, and I love when my clients share them with me because it serves as a really good reference point, a spot for us to fall back to when we get stuck in a situation or we have to overcome something difficult or an obstacle. It also can answer a lot of basic questions that you might have by having those reference photos. Make the Pinterest board. Screenshot things and save them in a file on your phone because these are all really good places to find those references and to fall back to and to make sure we have them on hand and access to them when you're out shopping or buying something. It's also worth photographing your home and just having those pictures on hand so that if you're out looking for something, you can say, how does that color compare? What do I think about that wood tone? What about the size of this? Where do I think this should be? And if you run into me in public and you have a question, it's nice if you have photos on your phone that I can actually look at, but that's beside the point. Be careful not to copy everything you see though. I hate seeing the same thing over and over and over and over again. It's exhausting, it's boring. You're not gonna get inspired by that or like it in the long term. So if somebody has a layout of furniture you like, or they have, this little vanity sitting there that you're like, oh, I love it so much. What's your version of that? How does that translate into your personal style? And get inspired by that and then do that in your space. It could be for nightstands. It could be the way the nightstands align with a headboard or a style of a lamp somebody has. Get inspiration for your space and then save it and have it on hand because that's going to guarantee that you have a reference to look back on. So if you make a post on socials and I see it and I comment and tell you, that's ugly, don't buy it, get this one that's next to it instead, you will get the notice and you will see it and you can correct your mistake then and there. And I love that for you. Well, there you have it. Let's get your place looking gorgeous, and we're gonna do that by you checking out this video right here, all about how to decorate your living room like a designer. Be sure you check it out, and I will see you over there. And by the way, thanks for watching.